Get out of the car. Shots fired! Shots fired!
Fuzz busting. Policing the police since 2022. Brought to you by A Few Bad Apples. Reminding you to always drink and drive responsibly. As always, fuzz busting does not constitute legal advice, as absolutely no one involved is an attorney. This absolutely bonkers police misadventure takes us all the way to beautiful San Antonio, where practically in the shadow of the Alamo, one Texas rookie became the very definition of trigger happy. It's Saturday night, October 2, 2022, and we find ourselves in an ordinary neighborhood McDonald's, where newly minted San Antonio police officer James Brennand is set to deliver a most unhappy meal. He's been dispatched on a disturbance call, but upon arriving on the scene, his attention breaks away from that matter after spotting a vehicle he believes evaded him on his previous shift. He calls it in, but before backup arrives, he decides to act.
Get out of the car.
Less than 5 seconds later, he's opening fire on a vehicle with more than one occupant. Whether they are out joyriding, whether in a stolen vehicle or not, or in their own vehicle, or mom and dad's, none of that was settled science when Officer Brennard chose to go fatal. It really is an extraordinary piece of video. And as just seconds later he is seen sprinting across the parking lot, it's presumed he was not seriously injured when glanced by the open door. You know, the door he opened. Somehow it's reached the level of a capital offense requiring the emptying of a clip in the direction of both occupants.
Get out of the car.
He already unleashed a salvo of gunshots, and now being in an even less dangerous situation now that the vehicle is departing, he again pops off several more rounds like a madman on a mission.
Shots fired! Shots fired!
The car would roll to a stop a block away, with its driver struck 4 times. He is 17-year-old Erik Cantu, and good for him, he's accompanied by a 17-year-old female. Police quickly apprehend and transport their subject to a nearby hospital in critical condition, charging him with assaulting an officer and evading arrest. But was he even about to be arrested? By this guy? Probably. After a review of the body cam footage, the officer was swiftly fired. As prosecutors dropped all charges against the driver, hell, the mayor even chimed in. And now those same prosecutors will have to decide if there should be charges brought against Brennard. It sure seems like there should be, though often in the early hours of an investigation, details are still foggy and evidence evasive, though it's hard to imagine what new revelations could change the context all that much. I mean, unless they've got El Chapo in the trunk or a box of donuts in the glove box, this level of police response just seems utterly unjustified. But context, of course, is king. And while we might consider recent news stories linked below, such as 5 SAPD suicides in less than a year, with the area's highest murder rate since the 90s, or the chief's recent attempt to upgrade their decade-old handguns from 40 calibers to 9mm, none of that really changes the officer's obligation to follow common sense and the department's policies. Also not terribly relevant, he is an Army vet, and he and his wife, both canine specialists, just welcomed their first child. And as public outrage shifted from local to global, the scrutiny intensified. The chief took to local news.
And there's nothing I can say that could justify what happened. Well, we don't know who was driving that vehicle the day before. So I don't know what the officer was thinking. Officers are prohibited from shooting at moving vehicles unless it's in defense of life.
Officer Brennand gets the rare 0% performance rating. Anything less than 10% indicates a situation where the officer should potentially be prosecuted. Why do his actions require such a rating? It goes well beyond merely discharging his weapon. First, he approached the vehicle looking for personal justice against the driver who so disrespected him by successfully fleeing the previous day. It appears Brennand did so without knowing for certain if this was indeed the same driver or even the same vehicle. He acted without waiting for backup. He should have instantly realized that he was just dealing with jackass teenagers here. He was in possession of just about 0 probable cause related to this particular driver, and yet, without identifying himself, he yanks open the driver's side door and oddly seems more fixated on drawing his weapon rather than evading the now moving vehicle he will no doubt claim was threatening him. And after that threat was gone, he again unleashes a volley of shots in a scenario that no longer is a threat to him but could potentially be a threat to passersby. After all, the car could easily be sent accelerating in who knows what direction after its driver is, say, shot 4 times. It is this second round of shooting that he'll have the most difficulty explaining. Local news ran with this like you wouldn't believe, and then of course the wires picked it up. Hopefully Cantu, now reportedly listed in stable condition, will make a full recovery. The situation will no doubt one day have his inevitable lawyers proclaiming, "I'm loving it." This is, after all, the exact kind of boneheadedness that sucks so much revenue out of local government. But why does it keep happening? Well, because a crime has been committed. The ultimate crime: disrespecting an officer. Not complying, not listening, not cooperating. All can get you killed. But it used to take more than reaching into a pocket to turn things fatal.
Police department, search warrant!
Whether it's from screening, training, PTSD, or just the crazy times we live in, a high number of officers just seem to be powder kegs of machismo. Cartoon cowboys ready to explode at the smallest infraction, such as bruising an ego. It definitely means we should appreciate the good cops and let them know it. And as for the bad ones, I don't know. Maybe we can bribe them.